thought about one big thing as you're setting out. You won't get a copy of the slides, but you will get a copy of a 2-page handout, which you can access here. I'll show you the slide at the end of the session as well with the link. If there's anything that you think is really brilliant, either jot it down or take a picture of the screen or a screenshot, and then you'll have it forever, but you won't be getting a physical copy of the slides. As I was saying, we're going to be covering a lot of ground. So we're going to talk about digital marketing strategy and what you need to have in place before you get too far into that digital ad space. We're going to talk about Google search ads and Facebook and Instagram ads specifically. Again, what's a good ad? What makes a good ad? How much should you be spending? Those kinds of things. Then we're going to talk about email marketing and how to do that successfully. I'm going to leave you off with some graphic design tools, just a quick couple of links that maybe you have seen, maybe you haven't seen before, and some things to remember about measurement. That's going to be 90 minutes fast and furious. I will be taking questions in the chat. I've got Libby on the line as well. She is also a professional in the space and on hand specifically to help answer your questions. So you can find her in the chat as well, and she'll queue up some questions for me at the end. I will say this is a really full presentation. I'm not going to have tons of time for questions, but put them in the chat and I'll get to as many as I can. Also, really exciting news is we're giving away one of these or 2 of these. See you on the internet, building your small business with digital marketing. This is a great book by a Toronto-based female author who runs her own business, and it's plain language. It's like the book version of what we're just going to skim the tops of today. I totally recommend picking it up, or you just got to stay on the line. You got to spend the next 90 minutes with me, and we're going to be giving a couple of these away. So I'll give you instructions when the time comes, but all you have to do is be here. Libby's going to tell you in the chat who wins. That's all the housekeeping I have. Libby will tell me on my Slack chat if I have any more tech catastrophes, but I'm really optimistic that we got those all out of the way early. So let's dive in. Digital marketing strategy. This is my favorite thing to talk about, and I could talk about this for hours, but instead I'll talk about it for minutes. As a small business, we have at our fingertips a ton of digital marketing tools that we can mix and match and use in a variety of different ways in order to grow our brands, grow our businesses, and strengthen relationships with key stakeholders in our space. But there's this isn't even all of the things, but there's your website, there's content marketing, so the blogging and article writing on the website, the downloadable content, which I would put under content marketing as well, but that's the ebooks, the white papers, the webinars. There's landing pages that might be specific to your ads or might be specific to your campaigns, might be specific to your stakeholders. There's search engine optimization or SEO, really making sure your website and your content is findable in Google. There's social media, and we know social media itself is a huge topic. There's digital ads, there's email marketing, there's influencer and affiliate marketing, which is getting people who are already out there with the big audience who talk about you, share your content, and the affiliates to be a mobilized sales force for you. There's marketing automation, there's lead nurture strategies, there's PR, there's tons of stuff that we can do online to teach and reach and sell and deliver value. The trick is knowing where to spend your money, where to start, where to focus, because each one of these bullets is an entire industry, of professional people who do this full time. How am I, how are we as small business owners supposed to know all of these things and execute them without like a Coca-Cola Lululemon size budget? Today we're going to focus just on digital ads, just on email marketing, but know that all of these other pieces are just as valid depending on what you're trying to do, who you're trying to reach, what you're trying to, what's the flavor of your brand. So as we talk about these two things, think about how it would fit in with your other existing digital marketing tools, or what other digital marketing tools you might need to invest in or improve in order to make these things work. For example, if you've got a really crap website, you could burn through a lot of money on digital ads, paying for clicks that hit your website and then bounce because your website doesn't convert, or your website doesn't speak to how valuable your actual product, service, or offerings are. So that's my umbrella statement, that all of these things can and do link together, but we're just focusing on digital ads and email marketing today. Traditional advertising wasn't even on that last slide, but radio, print, billboards, like out of home, bench ads, flyers, mailers, door knocker, like these things are still in use. And for some businesses, it would be kind of ridiculous. And for some businesses, it would be totally appropriate and effective. So we're not even touching traditional advertising today. But again, my disclaimer is, just because it's not digital doesn't mean it won't work, depending on your marketing strategy. So put that in your hat as well. So how can you do digital marketing with a small or smaller budget? Well, the best way to do that is starting with a plan. So often we want to just start here in the execute circle. You're a realtor and your brother's a realtor and he started doing some Facebook ads, and now you're going to do some Facebook ads, and you jump in here at execute. Or you went to one of these, you came to my Instagram workshop last week and you're like, I gotta get on Instagram, that stuff looks awesome. And so you just jump into execute. I wouldn't have told you to do that, but you know what I mean. That's an expensive way to learn, because what you're doing is this, you're missing the goals and planning sections of this digital marketing cycle, which are the best, which give you the best opportunity to make the most of your budget. So you can jump in and learn, or you can jump in and execute. And there is something to be said for getting started and not getting into analysis paralysis and goals and planning for the next year. And by then, Facebook's totally changed. But I would say starting with a goal and a plan is the number one way to make the best use of your budget. And it doesn't have to be that time-consuming, and it doesn't have to be that. You don't need a business plan on this. We're talking about a page of notes and some good market research, and you'll be off to the races. So when you're goal setting and planning, you need to know these three things. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? Who are you trying to reach? And what are you trying to communicate? What do you need to say to them in order to get them to know, care, and do something that will change your business? The what, the who, and the what again. So what are you trying to achieve? What is the actual goal behind this? Is it awareness? Is it higher sales? Is it more customers? Is it more repeat customers? Better conversion rates, shorter sales cycles, better profitability, increasing your market share, finding new opportunities? Is it about reducing expenses, hiring, finding talent? Is it about improving customer service? Is it about launching a new product? What are you trying to do? Digital marketing can do all of these things, and it can do a bunch of these things at once, but it's really important because what you do and what you say and the graphics you use and the audience targeting you use is going to be different depending on what's the answer to this question. So you want to think about that. What am I trying to do? And half of you, I bet, are like, duh, yeah. And half of you are like, oh yeah, that's a great place to start. And there's no shame in either of those, right? So if you've already have a really good idea of what you're trying to achieve, take a look at that answer, the answer to what am I trying to achieve, and see if it's written as a SMART goal, something that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And if it's not, I would challenge you to move it there. So it's not just I need more foot traffic in the store, or I need people to know that we have this new type of coffee in the store that's brand new and totally amazing. It's something more specific. It's something that by the end of the year you can look back at that goal and say, did I achieve this or not? Because if you're looking for higher awareness, is that one more person who knows about you? Is it 100 people? What does success actually look like? So examples of SMART goals in the big picture could be like winning 6 new business accounts before the end of the second quarter. That's a SMART goal. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Growing your market share by at least 10% by the end of the year. Delivering 5 customer education webinars by the 4th quarter. Collecting 30 new customer reviews this year. Getting 1,000 Instagram followers by January 1st. Increasing your website traffic 25% by December 2020. That's impossible. That date has come and gone. December 2021. These are the kinds of things you can see. These can be big picture business goals, or they can be smaller picture digital marketing goals, but they gotta be a goal, and we want it in that SMART format to help you know if you're reaching it, if you've checked it off, and how close you've gotten to that goal itself. And first step, literally do it. Write it down on the top of a piece of paper. It's gonna be so helpful. The next thing, once you know what you're trying to achieve, is figuring out who are you trying to reach. Who is that target customer or that ideal customer? And you gotta know them. So demographically, who are they? What age are they? What gender are they? What type of education do they have? What income do they earn? Where are they geographically? What is their marital status? Think about them in these basic demographic terms, but then go a bit deeper. So psychographically, what are their opinions, their beliefs, their hobbies, their lifestyle, their passions, their values, and their needs? So if I was talking about 30 to 40-year-old college-educated women in Kitchener, those are my friends. You start to get a different idea if those women are vegan, if those women are single moms, if those women are stay-at-home moms, if those women are lawyers, if those women believe, what are their political affiliations? Do they go to church? Again, these are the things that start to layer on a really rich understanding of who that audience is. And then, because we're in business, you want to go one step further and look at their priorities and pain points. So every day, what are these women struggling with? What are they celebrating? What's their best part of their day and their worst part of the day? What are their main issues or problems at home or at work? What keeps them up at night? Because we really need to intersect your target audience in such a way that you can speak directly and with relevance to them. And if what you sell or offer isn't their number one priority, that's fine. It doesn't need to be, but the way in which we then position it or communicate about it is going to be different if we know that is actually 10 things down on the list. If what your seller offer could literally change their life, their number one priority, and take the worst part of their day and make it so much better, that's great. How do we communicate that? How do we connect with them in such a way that they can really, truly see that? The only way we can answer either of those questions is to get to know this information. So how do you find out this information, right? A few ways. You could start with a survey. Try to get 100 people in that target audience. So maybe that's beg, borrowing, stealing your networks. If it's 30 to 35-year-old women, you're going through your Instagram DMs, you're talking to the people at your school, at your church, at your community center to try and find these women to fill out a survey. Maybe it's 5 to 10 focus group style interviews that you're doing over the phone or over Zoom with a preset list of questions. Those are the two best ways for a small business to do it. So if you have customers who are already in this space and you just really want to better understand them, try to get 5 to 10, either ones that you know who are your ideals, or maybe with a promotion to hop on the phone for even 15 to 20 minutes to talk about these things. Another way you can do is get Googling, right? Check out who in your target, or like pick a few people. Don't do this if you're in healthcare because it's illegal. But if you're in retail, it's not illegal. But if you know that Christy Guys one is like your perfect demographic audience, look her up, Google her. Don't Google me. I don't know what comes up. I should know that before I tell you to do that. But what do you see, right? Is it my YouTube channel? Is it my business account? Is it my listing on a organization directory? Do you get my LinkedIn? What's on my LinkedIn? What's on my Facebook? Like, you start to get a good idea of who these people are, and then just get kind of creepy. Click, 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 and see. Try to glean what you can from my digital footprint. You can also hire market researchers to help you figure this stuff out if you have the budget. But I would say try to get a survey out. Try to speak to 5 to 10 people within your target audience. Also, take a look at what your competitors are doing, because if they've done a lot of this work, you might be able to really tell based on the communications that they're sharing. So you've got a good idea of what you're trying to do. You've got a good idea of who you're trying to reach in a really kind of deep and intimate way. Now what you want to do is plan campaigns specifically for that audience. So that's when we go back to that digital marketing toolbox and we see all of the tools and tactics that are available to us, and you pick the ones that are best suited in order to reach that goal with that audience. So if your goal is to increase your web traffic 25% by December 2021, you're going to need your website, you're going to need a blog, you're going to look at social or your SEO. You might be doing some social. You might be doing some digital ads. You might be sending out an e-newsletter, right? So you're kind of bundling up a set of tools that you believe are going to help you achieve this goal. This is the digital strategizing that happens before you want to hop onto the Google or the Facebook Ad Center and start spending money. And ideally, you want to set those smart goals for each of these tactics. So maybe it's, I want to publish 1 blog a week. I want to get on the first page of Google by X date. I want to be driving 1,000 clicks per month from our Google ads. Whatever it is, but you're setting smart goals against each tactic or campaign. But you're sitting here saying, Christy, yeah, okay, but I'm not really sure what to put on this list. I'm not sure what do I bundle up in order to reach that goal. Totally get it. Start with your audience. So really go back to that audience profile and think, where are they? Are they on social media? If your audience isn't on Facebook, don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. If they're not, if they listen to podcasts, start a podcast. I don't know. I'm not sure that's good advice. But what do they need from you? Do they need advice? Do they need knowledge? Do they need a community? Do they need a coupon? What do they actually need from you? And how can you add value to them? Think about their journey from where they are to where you could get them with your service, product, or offering, and how their life's going to change. And then think about how and where you can add bits of that value so they get a taste for it and want to buy. Hopefully, if you can really dig into that audience, it will start to become more clear that, my audience is 45-year-old, politically leaning this way, men in Calgary. All those dudes are on Twitter, so now I need to spend more time on Twitter. That's the kind of math you're doing in your brain. And part of that is really learning about these different tactics and which ones are best suited for who, and that's what I'm going to really focus on today. So you're in the right spot. And then I want to leave you with this digital strategy section by saying there is a lot to think about. And if you wait and every single T is crossed and I is dotted, so it's figured out, the internet will have changed. So it's a good strategy to get started. You want to spend some time thinking about who you're trying to reach, what you're trying to do, and what you're trying to communicate to them. And then you got to get started. And the feedback you get in that marketing loop that I showed you earlier is what's going to help you tweak and change and update that recipe all the time to maximize your budget. Okay? So we want to start with a plan, but we don't want to let that plan hamstring us so that we never get started. So, okay, let's get into this and tell you how to think about digital ads. We're going to start with Google search ads and then Facebook and Instagram ads. Why are we even talking about digital ads? Okay, one, they can be a high ROI tactic, especially for a small business, because you're not printing 40,000 flyers, and you can pivot and change and adapt on the fly. You can segment so sharply that you can reach different people in different ways with different messages. You can get onto the first page of Google with ads way faster than with your organic SEO. You can find your way into people's feeds, like into someone's hand while they're waiting at the doctor's office or sitting on the toilet or ignoring their spouse. You're there with them, so it's like a really personal way to connect with someone. You can be found by people when they're looking for something that you sell. Perfect. And you can reach people who've never heard of you. Digital ads can be the key to all of those things. So it can be great for generating leads, increasing awareness, getting more customers, making more sales, and increasing how much a customer spends. So those are the kinds of things you're into. This might be something that you'll be interested in taking a closer look at. The only way to get those things is to do your homework, know your audience, have somewhere to send your clicks, and have enough budget. So it's great for a small budget, but your budget can't be so small that if your budget is too small, it will hamper. It will impinge on your success. All right, Google search ads. So that we're all talking about the same thing. Google search ads are noted by the word ad. I think it's black now. Since when this I was saying it's black now, but it says ad. And you'll see these either at the top, at the bottom of listings, or even sometimes in this Google Map My Business section, you'll see the word ad. So Google ads are paid placements by businesses, by organizations who pay money to have Google put their ads onto this first page of Google. But right below that is the Google Maps / Google My Business results section. So if you don't have a Google My Business page, it's free, and you 100% should, because look at the awesome main rate that Google gives to it, especially on mobile. And then after that, so on your page is the organic. So that's those are the listings that people are using search engine optimization or SEO in order to list into those organic search results. Buying ads, paying for this, does not improve your organic listing. So sometimes you'll see that, oh wow, the companies that have ads are also high up in the organic results, but those two aren't actually correlated. So don't think that buying the ads is going to improve your organic rankings unless you're pushing a lot of traffic. Then it could. But for our Google at the top, but you can see if every single business who wanted to put an ad against the keyword flower delivery Ottawa, if Google placed every single ad that someone wanted to pay for, the entire first page would be ads, right? It would be the yellow pages. So what they do is they have a limited number of spots on each search query in which they can display ads. And so what that means is that you this doesn't line up with the ad. What that means is that you have to bid on that place. I'm going to teach you all about the auction in a second. But before you do that, something to know is that when you're placing a Google ad, it's a PPC or a pay-per-click model. What that means is that you only pay when someone actually clicks through on that ad, not every time the ad gets shown. So this is one of the reasons why it can be really great for your budget. So imagine if you only had to pay for your bench ad when someone actually looked at it or stopped and wrote the phone number down. That's the idea of PPC. You're only paying when someone interacts with the ad. There's no minimum spend. So there is no minimum spend, but if you're spending a very small, your ad just won't get placed very much. And Google Ads, as you're developing them in the Google Ad Center, they're designed around helping you achieve a goal. So it's going to ask you, are you trying to get phone calls, web traffic, or store visits? And then it's going to help place those ads in such a way to do that. That's how powerful Google is. Okay, so the auction. The auction is this idea that Google has to, the Google God, the mastermind behind the screen, is determining in an instant which ad to display through an auction based on a bidder's ad rank. What this means is that it's not all about how much you're willing to spend for that ad space. It's a combination of these three things. Your bid, so how much money are you willing to pay for each time somebody clicks, plus what is the expected click-through rate? So how likely is someone to click on that based on and your ad's past history, the ad relevance, how relevant is that ad to the search query, and the landing page experience. That's your website. So how good is the website that you're sending people to? How seamless is the experience of Googling something, ad, and then get it to a landing page that delivers value. That's what Google is thinking about when they decide who to display or what ad to display in an instant. If you do a really good job on your targeting and on your ad writing, it has a high click-through rate, your ads are deemed more relevant than your competitors to the search queries, you actually spend less than your competitors were because your ad quality is so high. So it's not just about who has the biggest budget, but who has the best experience, who's to deliver the most value through their ads. I hope that makes sense. As you're creating an ad, it's actually really easy. The user interface is easy. Creating the ad is easy. It's all of the thought that goes into what goes in that ad and who your audience is. That's the hard stuff. But actually creating the ad is literally as easy as 1, 2, 3. You create it, you type it. These are search ads we're talking about, so they're all text. You choose your audience, and then you set a budget. And they walk you through it step by step. So how much should you be spending? What is a budget? What's fair? What's overspending? And that is such a big asterisk. That is such an it depends. But I will tell you the average cost per click, that's CPC, is $3. That's across all industries. So for some of you, that might be so high and cost prohibitive. For some of you, that might be laughably low. So if you're selling $850,000 ERP software implementations, a $3 lead is a great deal. If you're selling $12 lunch kits, a $3 lead might be crazy. If you're selling $12 lunch kits that someone signs up for 6 months at a time, $3 might be great. So it's all about how much is a click worth to you. when you're thinking about that, where's the clicker in your purchase funnel? Where is that lead? Is this a top of funnel? And they have a lot of thinking and working and sales digitally to do before they buy? Or is it are they ready to buy from your ad? What is your single product sale profit? So what is the math behind it in-house? What is the average purchase price? What is the average lifetime value per acquisition of that lead? These are all things that will help you decide what a click is worth to you. I would recommend, if you're not sure at all, do a 3-month pilot where you do $500 a month for 3 months, and you're going to learn so much in those 3 months. You could do a couple of different ads, and then see what's getting clicked, what's not getting clicked, what keywords, what phrasing is really converting and what's not. And in 3 months, you'll have a really good idea on what your future budget should look like. It might stay like this, it might get higher, or you might be able to drop it. Anything less than $500 a month, and I've found with some of my small business clients, it's just the ad doesn't get placed enough because there's not enough budget available, and so we lose out on some of the prime traffic. So if you're not sure, what does $500 a month get me? Google will tell you. So there is a little slider as you're setting your budget up that's going to tell you, for this amount of money, your estimated results are this many clicks and calls. So the budgets are going to be totally different. If you're in a really competitive space, they're more expensive because there's more people in the auction. If you're in a much less competitive space, it will be less expensive. So I can't give you an exact answer, but there is a tool in the ad center that shows you. So you'll know, for this $500, I'm expected to get 200 clicks, or I'm expected to get 2,000 clicks. And then they'll also chart out for you as you start spending, how many clicks are you getting, how many impressions are you getting. So impressions are the number of times, that's this red line, that the ad got seen, 52,000 times that the ad gets placed. 3.61 thousand people actually clicked, and you can see how the lines go together. So that was an average for this ad group was $1.19 per click. So again, it gives you lots of information so that you can tweak and change as you go. So in this account that we ran, we tried a bunch of stuff. We did a pilot. We tried a bunch of stuff, and you can see. So impressions is this column. Clicks is this column. Click-through rate, so what percentage of people who saw it clicked. And then the average cost. And you can see this ad group far outperformed the others. So again, we were using different keywords for different service types and testing what was working, and what was working less. And then we were course correcting as we went to try and get the highest click-through rate. So again, it doesn't mean that this was a waste of money. It just means that was more input, right? And if these 180 clicks all turned into purchases higher than these 2,000 clicks who just kind of got tossed around in a purchase funnel on some pages and never took another engagement, then this might actually be a better investment. So that's all the layers of complexity to it. But the Google Ad Center makes it quite easy to set it up, figure out your budget, and then to track your budget so that you can continue to tweak and change. So understanding the auction is one thing, and figuring out how much to spend. I'm just trying to look at the questions here, and trying to figure out how much to spend is one thing, and you will learn as you go. You'll tweak and change as you go. One great way to waste money is to just set it and then never look at it again, and it spends your money. It will spend your money, and then you never kind of get those insights. It's like the stock market. I'm not sure this is a great metaphor, but it's this idea that if you set it and just let it go, ideally you're ending up with, or you can tweak, take a look, I guess, at your results, or hire someone to watch it so that you can continue to tweak and change and get your click-through rates high and your cost per clicks down in order to get the best quality clicks, because it's not just the click-through rate, it's how to get those quality clicks. Does Google rate new ad clients if past performance is considered? Well, great question. It's AI, so it is. I don't know exactly if it's or if it's some wild AI algorithm that says ads like these for keywords like this typically get that, but it knows. Somehow it knows. It gives you that score right away, and then it continues to tweak and change it in real time as you go. So if you don't have $500 budget, don't go for Google Ads. Is the next question. I mean, you can experiment with $200 and see, but I think to do like a full, to get the most, I would counsel my clients that if you don't have $500 a month, you're not going to get enough data to really plan out a long-term Google Ads strategy. That being said, if you've got if you're doing a floral shop pop-up and you want to make sure you're on the first page of Google, heavy for the next 2 weeks, you got $200 to put behind it, that could be a good short-term goal. So somewhere in between those two things is my answer. Okay, so understanding the action is one thing. Writing ads that get clicked is another. So how do you write a great ad? 1, highlight what makes you unique. Is it free shipping? Is it your dazzling variety? Tell people what it is that makes what you've got to sell so great. Showcase your products, your services, or your offers. Where it makes sense, include prices, promotions, and exclusives. Again, you have that few seconds while someone scrolls or moves their cursor past your listing to see whether or not this is something they want to take the next step with. It's often used to make a decision about something, so give them what they need to decide, especially if it's a limited time, limited stock, an exclusive product, a special say-so in the ad, knowing that you can change that ad copy at any time. So you could run an ad for 3 days with a special promotion and then change it when that's no longer available. So this is just a couple of pizza ads. I'm on some Domino's. I'm not sure what you guys like, but you can see that they've chosen to include different things in their ad. Domino's has their name. Domino's has $7.99 medium 2-topping pizza deals. Domino's is including their rewards program. The fact that they have 100% Canadian cheese. The fact that they do delivery. Little Caesars looks totally different, right? They're talking about pickup. They're talking about fast. They're talking about delicious. World famous never frozen, served in Canada over 50 years. So they've both made decisions around what are the defining features that their audience wants. I'm not sure which is better. I don't know that there is an answer, but they've made decisions about it. Empower your customers to take action. Are you selling something? Tell people what they can buy. Are you offering a service? Tell them how they can contact you. Put calls to actions like purchase, call today, order, browse, sign up, or get a quote to make it really clear what the next steps are. Include at least one of your keywords. So keywords in your ad text show you ads relevance to what people want. For example, if you've included digital cameras as a keyword, your ad headline could be by digital cameras. So that's setting up your ad. You've got your ad copy. You've also got keywords. These are the kinds of words that when people search, you want to be shown up. You want to show up for. So again, you may have a basket, a couple of keywords that you're targeting. Make sure at least one of those, your most important ones, are in the actual ad. So this is a search for custom signage. You can see most of them say custom sign or custom signage. This one doesn't say custom signage, but custom signage must be one of their keywords. So it doesn't have to be in there, but you're typically putting that one of those keywords into your match your ad to your landing page. Okay, guys, match your ad to your landing page. So have a look at the page you're linking them to, the landing page, where you're sending that click, and make sure that the promotions or the products or that offer or the whatever you're talking about in the ad is also on that page. So if otherwise people might leave. If you're clicking for a $7.99 two-meat pizza deal and you get dropped onto a homepage that doesn't mention that, I'm really confused as a user. And all I know, I'm just one click away from a better experience. So if I'm searching for cheap cupcake boxes, and I click on this white macaron boxes, and it takes me to a page that doesn't have white cupcake and macaron boxes, that's a waste of money because you've just paid for me to click that, and I'm not going to buy it because I can't see it. So that's something you want to really make sure that landing page, you're really thinking about where you're sending people with that click. So, in summary, when it comes to Google Ads, the tips for maximizing your budget are knowing your audience, are writing compelling ads, are offering a great landing page experience, and then doing that testing and learning, like I was showing you with the charts, seeing what your click-through rate's in, seeing which keywords are delivering for you, seeing which ad groups are delivering for you, and doing more of what's working and less of what's not. And again, I know that was really quick, but there we are. That's all that we have time for. I want to show you one cool thing. If you go to this ads, plural, adsettings.google.com, it's going to show you all of the assumptions that Google has made about you. Okay, so this shows you, these are mine. Some of them are true, some of them aren't true, but these are all of the assumptions that Google's making about me when it helps decide what they're going to show me. So you can see I've got all of these interests, and everyone that we're targeting on Google has a profile like this. So when you're thinking about targeting, these are the kinds of things that Google knows about us and that they're using when they decide who to show what. So some of it's just kind of a fun little experiment. Adsettings.google.com, and you can check that out. And some of it will show you some of the ways in which you can customize your audience. Okay, moving right along into Facebook and Instagram ads. Okay, so why are we talking about Facebook and Instagram ads? There are a lot of people on Facebook and Instagram, right? That's where, depending on who you're targeting, that's probably where they're spending a good portion of their time. So we pay to be placed on Facebook and Instagram because people are spending time on Facebook and Instagram. They also have sophisticated targeting options, and it's relatively easy to make your own ads. So if you're thinking about Facebook or Instagram ads, you want to think about how and where you're connecting with your audience. This is a much different experience than Google, because Google, they're actively searching for something. So whether they're searching for a solution to a problem, they're looking for a recipe, they're looking for a hotel recommendation, they're looking for the best TV to buy, they're looking for contractors in their area, they're looking for pizza, they're looking for something. So the way in which we write ads is a lot more about connecting a solution and an offer with someone who's searching for a solution or something to purchase or to learn. When we're on Facebook and Instagram, it's not quite so cut and dry, because the reason they're on Facebook and Instagram aren't to buy something. I buy stuff on Instagram all the time, but I don't go on Instagram to buy things. So the way in which we talk to them needs to be different. So there are, so keep that in mind. There are two ways in which you can spend money on ads on Facebook and Instagram. It's all through the same ad center. Okay, so it's the same interface where you're going to be able to run your Facebook ads or your Instagram ads. And it's the same process, it's just called something different. So the first thing is boosting or promoting. So On Facebook, it's called boosting. On Instagram, it's called promoting. And basically what this means is you can pay to boost content that you've already published. So whether you've posted something on your Instagram page or you've posted something on your Facebook feed, you can put some money, $5, $10, $100, $1,000 behind that ad or behind that post in order to get more people to see it. And it's literally as easy as you've already published this, you hit boost, and it will take you to a page that says, who do you want to see it? People who like your page, people who like your page and their friend, people you've chosen through targeting. You can choose a budget, and again, it's going to show you what's your estimated reach. How many people do they think is going to see it for $100? This is saying between 6,000 and 16,000 people. And how many days do you want to run that for? Okay, so that's one way to do it. I'll show you again. So this is my Instagram. I have a post up. They're actually advertising to me. They're saying, hey, why don't you promote this? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll promote it. So if I hit promote now, it says this. Where do you want to send people? To your profile, to your website, or to your DMs, your direct messages? So you choose where you want to send people who are going to see your ad. You define your audience. So again, you can make this automatic, or you can create your own manually, adding targeting options. Then you'd set your budget, and again, it allows you to toggle so you can see what do you get for $5, what do you get for $500, and then you can set the number of days that you would want to run the ad for. Then you hit yes, and it goes. And then after if you sign up for 6 days, after 3 days, sure, you're getting some clicks, but you're not getting any purchases, you're not getting any calls, you're not getting any likes or follows or whatever you're trying to get, you can cancel it, you can stop it. So it's a great way to experiment with your content to see what gets engagement and how much is that engagement worth to you. Because if you could put $40 behind even half of your Instagram posts and end up getting 40 new followers for every $40 you spend, that might be worth it compared to how long and how hard you would have to how much effort you would have to be spending to get each of those 40 people organically. Only one way to find out is to get started. They make it really easy. So that's boosting or promoting. You have something already published and you boost it to get more people to see it. Ads are a different thing. So Facebook and Instagram ads are created through the Ad Center on Facebook, and it's called dark content. So it's this idea that those ads don't exist anywhere else. You will only see this ad if it's shown to you. You won't see it on the business profile. So you go to the Ad Center and you create an ad, and again, it walks you through it. That part isn't hard. Both Google and Facebook, Instagram have made it very easy to spend money with them. The actual building of the ads is very, very easy. What's not so easy is figuring out what goes into the ads, who should you target the ads to, and how much should you spend. So, just like on Facebook, or just like on Google, Facebook has a auction as well. And it's a very similar formula. So it's your bid, how much you're willing to spend, the estimated action rates, the user value gives you this total value score. That's the language they use. So estimated action rates are that Facebook's predictions about how the people in your audience will react to your ad. User value, just like on Google, is the relevance and the quality of your ad. How good is your ad and how good is the landing page experience? That's something I really wanted to impress on everyone who's here, is that it's not just how awesome the ad is. It's if you're sending them to a crap website, then that's actually impacting your ability to be successful on these digital ads. The landing page impacts your ability to get the best value in your ads. And you can understand why, especially on Facebook. This is like Facebook, Instagram. It's a friends and family network, and you're there to. It's a hobby for people, right? Not me, but other people spend a lot of time on Instagram as one of their pastimes. And so if Facebook and Instagram just threw out the standards and said, I'll put whatever in front of these people, in front of these Facebook users. It doesn't matter, as long as the brand's paying me, I'll put whatever up. It would start to severely impact the user experience of the people using social media. So the value and the relevance has to be really high. So when you're getting started, you choose a goal, like we did on Google, but different because there's way more options here. But you choose a goal. What are you trying to do? You choose a budget. Okay, so I would say a recommended minimum spend. Again, I would run a 3-month pilot, but you don't have to spend as much money here. You could probably do $100 a month for 3 months and see who's clicking, see who's not clicking, see which ads are working, see which ads aren't working, and then extrapolate your findings from there. But so you can set a daily budget or a lifetime budget. So you could say, I don't want to spend more than $10 a day, or you could say, I don't want to spend more than $100 over this 10-day period. And there's so many things that you can set. There's so many tiny tweaks and changes and optimizations that you can make. So you're gonna choose the goal. You're gonna set the budget. You're gonna choose your audience. And so again, there's really there's a ton of things you can do. You can set your audience in terms of their location. So I want to reach people in Kitchener. You could do it by postal code. So if you want to do smaller, you could do it by excluding. So you could say, I want to do it in Kitchener, but I want to exclude this area code. So if you're doing meal deliveries, but you don't deliver meals to Cambridge, you just do Kitchener and Waterloo, you can limit it so that you're not paying to put ads in front of people who live in Cambridge, because they can't buy from you anyway. So you can use the location that way. You can set your age ranges. You can set your gender. You can set your detailed targeting. So this, I put in here Gilmore Girls, sports, tacos, but you can put anything. And again, this is if you know your audience and if you know they're all into extreme sports and caffeine and red Solo cups, if you know that's the kind of stuff they're into, you can add it to here so that it increases the so that you're only showing your ads to people who you know are totally aligned with who your brand is. Or if you're more broad, you can have a more broad audience. Sometimes if you get too specific, you're going to lose out on people, especially if you're doing a specific location with specific interests. There just won't be enough people to target. But it will tell you. So it's going to tell you whether your audience is specific or broad and the potential reach of that targeting. So it's going to walk you through all of the things that you can do. You can also make this way more automated. If you're I don't know, you can have it, you can make audiences, you can make lookalike audiences, you can set automatic targeting where they're making their best guess on your behalf. I mean, that might be okay when you're just getting started, but I would say if you've done the digital strategy work up front and you've really taken a deep look at who your audience is, to at least do a couple of targeting options and then getting smart with lookalike audiences, which we don't have time to talk about, but that's going to really help you get bang for your buck here. Okay, there's a question saying, for a monthly budget, how would you recommend to use that for a couple of weeks, divide it for each day? It's going to depend, right? So you can set that budget up by, if you're only open for certain hours, you can make it so that your ads only get shown on the hours that you're open. If you're doing a larger awareness campaign, you might let it run all day and have a daily budget. If you're working towards, if you're in a really high, if you're in a competitive space and your budget might go like that, and then you spend that $100 in a day because you end up paying $5 or $6 per click, and then it's gone, then you might want to spread it out over time. So I can't really give these broad stock answers, unfortunately, other than really figure out when is your audience online and what are you trying to get them to do. How many times do you think they need to see your ad before they would take an action? These are all the kinds of things that would help you make those decisions. I just have to keep pushing along here because I have so much content to cover. So again, just like Google, there is this idea that knowing how to use the auction so you're not burning through a bunch of cash is important. And then also creating good ads that people click on is equally as important. So on Facebook, you need to be creating interesting, relevant ads. So that means fun, eye-catching, thumb-stopping. So if I'm scrolling, what's going to actually make me stop scrolling? This is really important. They have to be positive, feel-good ads, right? So Facebook especially is super particular about the ads themselves and the feeling they're evoking people. I'm going to give you some specific examples in a sec. Use as little text as possible, okay? So less than 20% of the image should have text on it. Design for mobile first. So design, test it, see what it's going to be on the phone. And design for it to be interactive with the sound off. So if you're including a video, account for the fact that 80% of the people who see it won't listen with the sound. Know that all ads go through a review process by a human and must be approved before they're shown. Okay, so there is someone who's going to look at your ad and say whether or not it's good enough to go onto Facebook, Instagram. Your ad will not get approved if it asserts or implies directly or indirectly that you know a person's personal characteristics. This includes name, race, ethnic origin, sexual orientation, physical or mental disability, medical condition, financial status, and more. So you can't say, are you a Christian? This will be disapproved because it implies that you know their religion. But what would be acceptable is meet Christian women. So you can't make it sound like you already know who they are. You can't call attention to perceived imperfections. So if you're selling a fitness program and you put a picture of some sad fat person and a comment that says, tired of being such a sad fat person, tired of that muffin top, doesn't your life suck? It won't get approved. Versus if you're saying, are you ready to take control of your life and live the lifestyle you've always dreamed of, and that feels exciting and good, then that would get approved. So you really have to think about the feel behind what you're doing. You can't have sexually suggestive images or copy. You can't do before or after images. You can't do shock and scare tactics. They won't approve long, boring copy. They might approve it, but don't do that. And inauthentic or poor quality images, don't do it because no one will click on them. Here's what will happen if you have like some poorly lit, weird photos from within your store that you put out there, and you're putting money behind it, and it hits my thing, and I scroll right past it, and what that does is it's starting to erode your quality score because it's impacting the number of the expected click-through rate. It goes down every time somebody ignores it. And then you end up spending more hours. So what instead you want to do is make sure you have a great, like, oh, what is that? I want to scroll. What is that? I want to take a closer look. That is the and what would stop my sister's thumb are probably totally different. So it really, really, really depends on who you are targeting, what's going to be that great image. I mean, what we do know is that, well, yes, done. Okay. Ways to waste your money. Ads that aren't relevant or interesting to the audience. Great way to waste. Slow load time on your landing page. Again, if that website you're sending people to isn't great, and specifically on Facebook and Instagram is slow to load, you will be wasting money. If it's a poor content experience on that landing page, you will be wasting money. And that means if once you click through, there's too many ads on your website or blog, you've got sexually suggestive or shocking content on your website, you have malicious or deceptive content, you have pop-up ads or interstitial ads right away, that's going to throw off. That's either going to make people who click through, who you've now paid for, not engage with your content, or it's going to lower your quality score, making your ads more expensive. So, don't do those things. Instead, know your audience. Yay. Remember where you are. You're on a friends and family network. You're interacting with people in their homes where they're just trying to live their lives and feel good about themselves. You got to create thumb-stopping ads. You got to create something, whether it's with the video, an image, or great text that makes people stop and say, "Oh, what's that?" And you got to test and learn. So, try to see what's working and what's not working. Do more of what's working and less of what's not. Anytime, just on Facebook and Instagram, you can do A/B tests too. So you can do same images, different copy, and see what gets the best click-through rate. Same copy, different images, and see what results you get. You can do, again, because you're able to create these audiences. You can create one ad for this audience, one ad for that audience, one ad for this audience. You're all inviting everyone to your Oktoberfest party, and yet the ads, the copy, and the design might be totally different based on who you're trying to target. That's the power of Facebook. That's how you can reach a lot of people for relatively not a lot of money. I will say that some brands are spending $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 a month on Facebook ads, and that's a good investment because they're turning tons of business. Other small businesses like me and maybe you are spending $100 a month or $200 or $500 a month, and that may or may not be a good investment. So it's not about the actual number, but it's about creating that experience, getting to interact with your content, and making sure that interaction helps you reach your goal. We set that goal off the top. What are you trying to achieve, right? And if what you're trying to achieve is feet in the store, I mean, I don't know, COVID. Imagine COVID's not a thing, and you were trying to get people into your store, and you're running Facebook ads, and you're turning great numbers, tons of clicks, tons of page views, tons of web traffic, but no more feet in the stores, then that's a big disconnect that you're going to want to stop and say, is it the ads? Is it the website? Is it the content? Is it my audience, what they value? I don't quite understand. But figuring out that disconnect is going to be the key to you spending the money that gets you something that helps you achieve your goals, and not just something that looks good on a metrics slide. Okay. Again, I teach a 3-hour Facebook. It's just Facebook ads. I teach a 3-hour class on, so we're moving quick, but I'm hoping you've got a taste for what it would take to run Facebook ads and Google ads, and to see if maybe that's something that you should take a deeper dive into. Email marketing. How long until someone writes in the chat that email is the worst and they hate getting email and email's dead? I get that when we did these in person, I got somebody every class saying, like, don't we hate email? Don't we hate getting email brands into our inboxes? But people like it. 72% of the public and 86% of business buyers say they prefer email as the way for businesses to communicate with them, including ads. Emails can deliver high engagement. So the average ROI on email advertising is $40 for every $1 you spend. That makes email the highest ROI form of advertising. If it's done right, right? So what's great about it, it's inexpensive to get started. It doesn't require a lot of tech know-how, and it's a much lower time commitment than being on social media or even managing your ads. So it can be great for sales, brand building, trust building, testing your audience preferences, or amplifying other content that you're creating as part of your digital marketing strategy. As long as you're delivering value. Should I say it again for people in the back? As long as you're delivering value. That's the idea. It's like email marketing works if those emails are super valuable. As long as you can get quality subscribers. So you need to have a plan for who you're going to send these to. And as long as you can keep those subscribers engaged and retained. Those are the keys. So is email right for your business? Well, how will email marketing support your business goal? What are you trying to achieve? Who are you trying to reach? Where does email marketing fit within your overall content strategy? Do you have anything to say? Are you already sending stuff out? Are they already getting, are your leads already getting a bunch of emails from your salespeople? Or do your customers only hear from you when they step foot in the store? What kind of content do you have to send? Like, do you have available to send? How often are you thinking about sending emails? Is your email marketing plan sustainable? And do you have a list of people to send those emails to? Those are the questions you're thinking about. These are the things you want to answer to know whether or not you should start to invest in email or to continue in email. Building a list is one of the key things here. Do you have an existing list of email addresses? If you do, I'm going to go ahead and say this is almost a no-brainer for you, because if you can create awesome, valuable emails, timed right, sent to people who already know you, who've already opted into a list, whether that's because they're a customer, they've asked, or it's somebody who's actually signed up, talk to these people because they have a stake. They're already, if not a fan, an almost fan. If you don't have a list, we got to think about how and where you will ask for people to join that list. And we have to do all of that within the backdrop of CASL, Canadian Anti-Spam Legislation. I'm not a lawyer. I'm going to teach you what I know about this legislation. Canadian Anti-Spam Legislation, or CASL, is laws that govern email marketing. So this is not sending prospecting emails. This is not sending individual emails to people. This is sending marketing emails from a marketing list and probably from an email provider, okay? You have to identify, in order for that to be legal, you have to identify yourself or the organization when sending the email. So people have to know who it's from. Every email must have an obvious way to opt out or unsubscribe. You see that at the bottom of every email. People need to consent, whether that's implied or explicitly, to being on your list, and you need to keep records of that consent. Let's talk about consent for a second. This is Canadian. If you're operating like anywhere else, there's GDPR. You guys have heard of these letters? That's the European standards, which are much stricter. So if you're talking to anybody overseas, you have express consent. If you're in Canada, implied consent is enough. Let me tell you the difference. Express consent is if you've got that consent has been given explicitly in writing or orally. You have said, do you want to be on my marketing list? And they have said yes. So whether that's a checkbox on a form or whether that's, a drop your card in this fishbowl at an event in order to be added to the list, they have to know that they are signing up for your list. In Canada, implied consent is also enough to make it legal. So if you have an existing business relationship, so they've bought from you in the past, then you have consent to reach out to them. If you have an existing non-business relationship, they've volunteered for you, they've donated to you, they're a member of your club or organization, then you have implied consent in Canada. If their email address is conspicuously published on the internet, it's on their about page or their website, then in Canada you have implied consent to reach out to them. So that covers pretty much everybody that you would want to be talking to, I would imagine. Legally, you can do that in Canada. I would say go for express consent every time you can. Consent is cool. So the best way to get someone to love the emails you're sending them is, one, make it valuable because you know what they love, but is two, to make it something that they've asked for. So I have been to a spa or two in my life, and they're on their intake form, there's a checkbox that says, can we send you marketing emails? And I never check it off. almost as a test, and they almost always send me stuff anyway. And that makes me annoyed. That makes me really annoyed because they've asked for my consent, I've said no, and they've sent it anyway. So that's legal because I'm in an existing business relationship with the spa, and yet it's a negative user experience. So I would say to balance your ambition for building a list with making sure it's a high quality list. Quality over quantity 100% of the time when you're building your list. Otherwise, you turn into spam. You turn into spam if you're sending emails to people who don't want to hear from you. Go for express consent. How do you get people to join? Okay, let them know what to expect when they sign up. Nobody wants to join your email list. I don't want to join your email list, but if I know your email list is a weekly collection of the best farm-to-table recipes, yeah, I would like that. Or if I know that your email list is actually a quarterly coupon and make recommendation, I want that too, right? So make sure they know. Don't call it a list, don't call it a newsletter, but tell them what they're actually getting, what value they're getting from it. Add those sign-up forms to your website. Consider multiple placements, like on the homepage, on the contact, and in the footer. Have a sign-up form on your Facebook page. Maybe you're even doing a Facebook ad promoting your newsletter and getting that in front of a ton of people and trying to get people to sign up to the list. Sharing the sign-up link on social media. So I've seen this before. We have a special promotion going out tomorrow to our email list. Sign up now to receive it. Or this is my favorite green smoothie, and I'm sharing it with my in my newsletter next week. So if you want to get on that today, like that's the kind of stuff. Have a sign-up form by the cash register. A paper one with a pen by the cash register. Collect email addresses at events and trade shows. That's a no-brainer. Put a join our email list link in your everyday email signature. Include a marketing consent box in your registration, intake, sales forms, processes. Whatever your process looks like, give people an opportunity to opt in. That's like just 10 ideas. There's so many more, but think about ways every time you have a customer or a lead touch point, think about a way in which you can add value to them by getting them to join your, position it as adding value to them, getting them to join your newsletter list. What do you send them? You're like, okay, now I'm getting this big list, awesome, but how does this work? What do I actually send? Again, it's like there's not one answer because it's going to depend on what your audience wants, needs, and likes. If you think back to that audience profile slide right off the top where it said demographics, psychographics, and priorities and pain points, this is where that stuff comes in, right? Because if you know what their priorities and pain points are, then you can help solve them. If one of their priorities is they don't have a lot of time, what if your email was a curated collection of all of the best X, whatever it is, from the internet sent to them each week? You know, what if it was like you have a fashion brand, you have a store or a label or whatever, and what if you were sending them your fashion pics and hot tips and the Golden Globes best and worst dressed list? Like, you're sending that to them because you know they love fashion, right? That's the kind of ideas. What do your people want? And that could, okay, so that's what you're thinking about. Filter all of these ideas with that lens. A great thing to do is share short excerpts from your blog post if you have a blog with links to the full post. A great way to get the content that lives on your website out into the world. Make it more like a letter from the desk up, especially if you're a real estate agent, if you're an investment advisor, if you're any sort of services provider. A letter from the desk up where you are adding your thought leadership, your expertise, whether that's monthly or quarterly, whatever makes sense for you, that can be really valuable. Links to industry articles you've read, so like not just the stuff you've written, but also stuff that you've read and seen, and your comments on why this is smart or stupid or amazing or revolutionary or something that they shouldn't get mixed up with. Maybe it's your new or seasonal item launches, especially if you're in retail. If something's happening in the store, tell people about it. Sales and promotions, especially contests and giveaways. Drip campaigns. So that's this idea of not just manually sending an email, but setting up automated emails that drip out on a preset basis based on their interests. So again, that's all about especially for a longer term sales process. So that's just 6 ideas of many, but you get the idea. People love content. People are hungry to hear from you, but it has to be in a valuable way. So if you want to maximize your budget with email, you start with a platform, okay? So this isn't coming from your Gmail account. It's not coming from your work account. But in order to make it look professional and in order for you to be keeping a record of all those consent things, you want to pick a platform like MailChimp, Constant Contact, Campaign Monitor. Lots of those have free versions where it keeps their branding in it. I'm pretty sure all of them, you pay by the number of recipients. So if you have a small list, you're not paying a ton. And so it's 0 to 500 contacts, 500 to 1 to 1,000. It's those kinds of stages. Set a schedule. So is this, again, there is a case for a daily email. There's a case for a weekly email, a monthly email, a quarterly email. It all depends on your industry, your business, your audience, and what you're trying to achieve. So set a schedule, and I normally would start clients on a monthly basis. If it's a professional services type client, I'd set on a monthly basis, and then making sure we have enough content to talk about each month that's pre-planned and valuable, and not just I'm supposed to send the email, what should we be saying? Write great content. No-brainer, duh, just do that. That's the hard part, right? One silly little point with an exclamation mark at the end, but you want to be creating content that they love and that's valuable. Send it and then measure it. That seems like the those are the tips, and it seems straightforward because it is straightforward with email. Libby, are you ready to give away some books? If you've won the digital copy of this book, you will find out in the chat right now. Libby's going to put your name there. She's going to give you instructions on how to download it. Good luck. I hope you win. If 40 people sign off in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to know why, because you're just hanging on for the free book. I won't be offended. We are running a bit behind schedule, but we're going to finish on time. I got 9 minutes left. Let's talk about some graphic design tools. So if you're part of what we talked about is making stuff look good in order to engage your audience. Google Ads doesn't matter. That's text-based. Facebook ads, Instagram ads, it matters a lot. Your email, depending on your audience, it probably matters too. So lots of us are using Canva or PicMonkey. These are websites that have templates. It's basically like drag and drop graphic design software where you and me, any layperson, can create content that looks like this. They have free versions and they have paid versions. It's great. My one caveat is be really careful that your content doesn't look like every other small business's content, because we're all using the same templates from the same websites, okay? So really think about how you can make these templates. They have Facebook ad templates, they have social media templates, they have newsletter templates. Really think about how you can put your stamp on them using your colors, your fonts, your brand identity to make them sing. But it will save you tons of money in graphic design. You can do it yourself, and you can do it quickly. Unsplash is free stock photos, so always hungry and looking for stock photography that it doesn't cost a fortune. Unsplash has a lot, and it's cool stock photos. It's not, man in a suit with his arms crossed stock photos. So I would definitely check that out as well. Okay, measuring success is such a critical part of this because the key to not wasting money on digital is checking in on how things are going and updating it. The benefit is that because you're not printing a bunch of pamphlets, you're not paying to print a billboard, that you can pivot, change, edit, add, cancel, and double down on your digital ads, your content, when you need to. So you set a goal. What am I trying to do? Who am I trying to reach? What do they need to hear? You make a plan. I'm going to do that with my website and some Facebook ads and a newsletter and a blog. You do it and you check in, right? And maybe if you're doing a 3-month pilot on Facebook ads, you're checking in pretty often. Every day, every couple of days. I mean, not for an hour, but you're just checking in, just like you would with your stocks. What is happening here? You're then formally measuring, looking at those charts, looking at the key performance indicators. What was I trying to do, and have I done it? And you're going to learn from that. If it didn't go so hot, why? Is it because your audience was too broad? Is it because your call was too long? Is it because you don't think that your audience actually cares about the same things? Is it because there's a mismatch between what your audience values and what you think they value? Is it because you didn't have enough money to spend? Is it because you weren't using the right keywords? Is it you didn't give it long enough to work its magic on the internet, right? Like, these are all the kinds of things you're going to want to figure out in that measure and learn section. So, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of things, numbers, dashboards, metrics that you could look at. Some of you, that is like, oh, I can't wait to get in there and take a peek. For some of you, that's like, I literally can't. But there's room for both of those types of people. So what you want to do is think about what quantitative and what qualitative measures will tell you if you're getting closer to reaching your goal. What metrics will tell you whether you're on the right track. So if the goal is getting more people in the store, qualitatively, are there literally, like with your eyes, more people coming in? Are there more people phoning you? Are there more people, yeah, those are the things. And then quantitatively, are there more people hitting your website? If your goal is to increase your web traffic, I mean, that KPI seems to be self-explanatory. It's your web traffic. If your goal is to increase your web traffic and you start building a bunch of followers on Instagram, but nobody ever goes to your website, is that a good thing or is that not a good thing? I mean, it's not a bad thing, but is that money well spent because you're not hitting that website traffic goal? So is that success? These are the things we want to really be careful with metrics so that we know what we're measuring. Key performance indicators, BIs, something that we use, and you maybe use this in your business too, but are stuff that we use to understand what's working and what's not. It helps keep us from getting swamped with the hundreds or thousands of metrics we can look at by choosing 1 to 3 key performance indicators and ignoring the rest. So is it clicks? Is it web traffic? Is it time on site? Is it newsletter signups? Is it contact form submissions? Is it downloads? Is it video views? Is it follows on social media? Is it purchases? What are those KPIs? What are those 1 to 3 things that you can track and learn from? And then when I say ignore everything else, like, you don't have to not look at anything else, but the rest is gravy. Those are the main 3 things you want to look at. I got 2 minutes here and I think 2 more slides, so we're almost there. Thank you guys so much. A common mistake for small business owners in digital marketing is not measuring consistently. So look at it regularly and adjust your strategy as you go. So I have done boosted posts on Instagram that just aren't worth it, and I've canceled them. No problem. I've done Facebook ads that just take off, and I put more money behind them because I can see that the metrics are working. That's exactly the point. I've also let stuff run, and then at the end of the month looked and been like, oh, that wasn't a great use of money, or oh, I'm sorry I didn't touch it because look at this insight I've learned. Remember to identify and focus on your KPIs. Ignore those vanity metrics. if Facebook followers isn't important to you, just because they're going up doesn't actually mean that's going to change your business. Or maybe it is, but be careful that you're not conflating web traffic with major business change if those two things don't actually align for you. Make sure there's Google Analytics on your website, and try to enjoy yourself. I like to just remind people that like it can feel overwhelming that we have so many tools at our behest, but it's also such an opportunity for us to create real and lasting relationships with people by sharing our expertise, by giving it all away content-wise, by creating and pouring our heart into content that changes the minds and hearts of the people that we come into contact with. So I hope that you have, we'll take away from this a bunch of decision-making criteria that will help you better understand what tactics to use, where to invest, where not to invest. And I hope that those decisions and some tweaking, changing in the recipe as you get started really help to move the needle on your business. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate 90 minutes of your time. Again, that reference guide download PDF document thing is available at camptech.ca/maximizing. We're doing some more workshops. I don't think any of them are in person. I shouldn't say that. Online webinars, though, including one I'm doing on Thursday. Libby, are you with me on Thursday? We're doing social media scheduling and how to get a month's worth of content in one go. So if you're interested in figuring out how to crack the code on planning your social media content, join me on Thursday. Otherwise, thanks so much for coming. Really appreciate your time, and good luck with your digital marketing and advertising. Ciao.
bisa karena kita kasih pelatihan berarti itu pengajian itu ini dari Silicon Valley dari Amerika wah itu kalau dia bayar itu malah kita keren-keren gitu ini kita kasih pelatihan kan ada berkomunikasi apa di grup itu kan berkomunikasi tahu pelatih dari mana aja ah iya 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 baik 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 ya paham paham ah baik 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 ah ya baik ya paham